Do you like farm games? The relax of just take care of a virtual world and see it grown from a small-sized terrain to a gigantic farm with thousands of animals. But if the animals and plants that you have on the game were for real, you sell a carrot in the virtual world and someone on your country really sell a real carrot, and you and he part the gains. And just as good, you are stimulating the economy of your country that isn't going very well. Sounds amazing, right? Almost too amazing, maybe? Anyway, this was the idea of the 26-years-old Mehmet Aydın. With his almost innocent face, he deceived an entire country, thousands of people, and vanished with almost $80 million. But how did he manage to do all that? This video was made possible thanks to the article from the website that will be in the description. Born in Bursa, Turkey, Mehmet had a simple life thanks to his parents who weren't very wealthy, so he left school and worked as a waiter and dishwasher. But his dreams lay in a more glamorous place. He wanted to be a rapper, but his dream never came true, so he started chasing after outlandish ideas. And he really came with one: glasses that would allow you to see naked people, which also didn't work. However, his period in the rapper world served as an opportunity for him to make contacts, one of them being an online game designer. Since Aydın liked the game Farmville, in 2016, with only $3,000, he came up with an idea for a similar game, but with a twist. Known as FarmBank, this platform gained 50,000 active users within 8 months. The premise was straightforward. Players managed a digital farm using gold to purchase livestock such as chickens, goats, cattle, and bees. Revenue was generated by selling animal products like honey and milk, which could then be used to scale the farm. While users could inject real capital to buy virtual gold, the system allowed top-performing players to convert their virtual gains back into real money. The founders' core promise was that player capital would be invested in tangible agricultural livestock operations, creating a bridge between gaming and agricultural crowdfunding. Turkish agriculture, investments like these were in high demand at the time. Turkey's agriculture was struggling due to a number of factors. More and more products had to be imported. But FarmBank suddenly gives people a chance to directly support the country's entire farming sector. But he was only getting started. In early 2017, Mehmet launches the first 2 real-life farms in his hometown, with massive opening ceremonies, with the presence of a district governor and a local mayor. Aydın now is a celebrity. His game is a huge success. He was giving numerous TV interviews, doing events for the app, and meeting many famous people. In less than a year, nearly 100 farms appeared in the country, selling the products of the FarmBank with the brand logo. Even branded stores were created, and people could pay $30,000 to open a branch, while users of the app received discounts on these products. At its peak, FarmBank has over 500,000 active players. Nearly 1/3 of the people invest their money. Some of them even put a huge amount of their own money into the game, reaching a total of $250 million into the FarmBank. Sadly, all this were a scheme, a Ponzi scheme that works like this. Instead of generating profits through legitimate business activities or trading, the operator pays returns to earlier investors using the capital contributed by newer participants. With the money earned, they can pay more shareholders and advertising, which will bring more people into the scheme. This creates a false illusion of a successful business, as investors see consistent profits that are actually just recycled money from other people. The scheme is inherently unsustainable and acts like a house of cards. It relies entirely on a constant flow of new investors to stay afloat. The moment the recruitment of new members slows down, or too many investors try to withdraw their money at once, the system collapses. In the end, the person running the scam often disappears with the remaining funds, leaving the vast majority of participants with significant financial losses. The farms created served only as a front, while the products were purchased from other farms, with the FarmBank brand logos being added later. However, this could not last forever.
The people who worked for him began to notice his high spending in private jet travel, luxury cars, mansions and automobiles, and even the Turkish government started to distrust him. In the first few months of the company's success, Mehmet did something peculiar. Since 1964, Cyprus has been divided into two parts. Northern Cyprus is considered a de facto state. A de facto state is a place that acts as if it were a country, but the rest of the world does not recognize it as such. This part is known as the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. It's a territory that only Turkey recognizes as a country. What Mehmet did was open a bank account and some shell companies in Northern Cyprus. And since it's only a country in practice and not on paper, Mehmet didn't have to pay taxes to the Turkish government. A brilliant idea in the short term, but one he would deeply regret in the long term. The Turkish government issued warnings about Mehmet's suspicious actions, and banks refused to do business with him until anything was confirmed. However, Mehmet tried to avoid the situation as much as possible, but without the banks, he couldn't withdraw the money he needed to continue paying shareholders and the stores that sold the products, which further increased suspicions that led the government to accelerate investigations. Faced with this news, Farmbank stopped accepting new users to prevent the situation from spiraling out of control, but it was too late. In early 2018, the Turkish government ordered Mehmet's arrest. However, Mehmet had already fled the country with all the money he could get, leaving no trace. But Mehmet's own ego would be his downfall. You see, it's difficult to find someone who could be anywhere in the world, but someone driving at high speed in Uruguay in a white Ferrari is going to attract people's attention, who will start recording videos. Seeing that people had found him, he immediately recorded a video saying that he hadn't committed any fraud and that he was in Uruguay preparing to prove his innocence and to get money to pay his debtors. Mehmet was terrified. The people of his country were furious with him, not only for the monetary loss, but also for the false hope he had offered. His employees had been imprisoned in very poor conditions, and he feared what they might do to him, the head of everything. After some time in Uruguay, he fled to Brazil, where he remained hidden for a year, until a private detective agency said they knew his whereabouts and had already notified the authorities. In less than 24 hours, Mehmet surrendered at the Turkish consulate. He was convicted of organized crime, aggravated fraud, and money laundering. He was sentenced to 45,000 years in prison, which was reduced from the initially intended 90,000.